Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zappy here, back again with Squid Game. We are on episode 2, and in the last episode of the show, or the first episode we should say, it was interesting. Like, it's got this tone that I don't think I've ever seen in like, anything else before that is, is so like innocent, funny, childlike, but has this sort of like, I don't know, like there's something about it that is really, really interesting to me, and I don't know if it's like, if it's just, kind of strictly Korean in the way that it, like, is other Korean shows or anything got this similar vibe to it, or is it just something that is strictly this way inclined for this show because this is the tone that they've set for it? But I mean, it would make sense is that it's got this childlike sort of aura about the whole thing that it is very like comedic and everything, but it's dealing with issues like debt and everything like that, and now they've thrust them into this game where if you lose you die. It's very like sort of interesting. I'm so intrigued by the whole thing, and yeah, I can't wait to get into in episode 2 and see what we get. So yeah, we met Gi Hun, who's the main, the guy, the protagonist, who's also in a hell of a lot of debt, like every other one of the contestants, and he's looking to obviously win this prize at the end, so that he gets all of this money, so that he can have proof of funds so that he can get back custody of his daughter, so his daughter isn't basically flown off to the US with her stepdad and mother. But it's going to be interesting in this episode because this is the first episode where we're actually going to get to see what they think about the whole thing that literally they've just witnessed. So many people died. I don't know how many. I hope they specify how many is still alive after that whole thing, because a lot of them died. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if the tone of the show remains or if it's going to, because I imagine the people can't take this well. Like, Gi Hun is very extravagant in the things that he does. Like, he's very animated, and it makes me wonder if I feel like he might lose that, which is like why I really loved him in the first episode, but it could take this like whole different turn where, the character has like a hell of a lot like going on, and if the actor is able to portray that, then I'm going to love it either way. But yeah, it is going to be interesting. So from what I gather, there are a few sort of like main contestants, we'll call them, that are seemingly going to stick out and become like the interesting members of whoever's left. There's always going to be like like kind of like red shirts that are basically just they're there to die, that you're not really going to get in depth with them, at least not until the last couple games, I'd imagine, when there's going to be like only a certain amount of people left. But I imagine like for the first like at least the next game, but maybe like the third game, like there's still maybe like a couple that are just there to basically be killed off, and then you get into like the last sort of 3 and it's only people that and that's when it gets like really fucking crazy. So yeah, the people are obviously Gi Hun, number 456, the old man who's 001, who's the most interesting, I feel like, number 101, which is this sort of like seemingly once gang leader, number 67, which is a girl who was a part of that gang but then went independent, so they've got them two at each other's throats. 218, which is Sang Woo, who is a friend of Gi Hun's, who I really, really like. I like how cool, calm and collected he seems, because the rest of the other guys that the people that like of this group that I'm talking about, like, don't seem that way inclined. He's an interesting one as well, because we are bound to get like the reasoning as to why he's in debt in there in the first place, even though he went off to like university and everything like that. So obviously I'm sure anyway we'll be getting the reasoning why he's there to begin with, but he seems very interesting to me. And then 199, we didn't see anything, like we didn't hear him say a word or anything in the last episode, but he did actually save Gi Hun from dying, which is interesting. And I did talk about in the last episode about how I wonder if there's a sort of an ulterior motive behind that, if he's trying to get him to help him in return, or if he did it out the goodness of his heart. I don't know, but it was definitely interesting. So those are the people that are kind of like the group of people that we it seems as though we're going to follow around, and if who knows, we might get introduced to more in this episode or the coming episodes, but we'll see. So yeah, they're on a survival island. That's when the show ended at the end of the first game, Red Light Green Light, or What's the Time, Mr. Wolf, which is what I'm sure it's called in the UK. And yeah, so yeah, nothing else to really talk about. So we are going to get into episode 2 and see what we get. So yeah, as always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken down for copyright in the future, I'll re-upload this as a discussion only, and the link to the reaction will be in the description below. As always, a link to the full-length reaction will be in the description below as well. So if you want to watch my full-length reaction to this episode and the other episodes, then the link is there down in the description for you. But yeah, nothing else to really talk about. So we're going to get in episode 2 of Squid Game, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Oh my god, just incinerating the bodies. The ones that died. What the fuck? Someone's still alive in there! No way! Oh god! They're gonna be incinerated alive. That's horrible. Like, you can't even put them out of their misery. Hell. Oh god!
두 사람 덕에 살았어요.
살아서 다행입니다.
첫 번째 게임의 결과를 알려드리겠습니다.
Alright, here we go. Fucking
456명
hell.
중에 255명이 탈락하여
There's more alive than I
첫 번째
thought.
게임을 금하신 참가자는 201명입니다.
돈 꼭 갚을게요. 꼭 갚을게요.
She thinks it's to do with the creditors.
뭔가 오해가 있는 것 같습니다. 저희는 여러분을 해치거나 돈을 받아내려는 게 아닙니다.
Yeah.
다시 말씀드리지만 여러분에게 기회를 드리는 겁니다.
기회?
Get jigsaw on it. Give you a chance.
사람을 그렇게 죽여.
We have to go through hell to get there.
게임이라고요?
그들은 게임의 규칙을 어겨서 탈락했을 뿐입니다.
Simply eliminated. They don't see it as killing.
상금이고 뭐고 다 필요 없으니까.
게임을 거부하는 참가자는 탈락으로 처리된다.
동의서 제3항 참가자 과반수가 동의를 하면
Yeah.
게임은 중단된다.
여러분의 뜻에 따라 게임의 중단 여부를 투표하겠습니다.
But what's the catch? There's got to be a catch with that one, right? There has to be.
첫 번째 게임에서 적립된 상금을 공개하겠습니다.
Keep your eye on the money. Look at them, they're all fucking taken in by the money. I assume that's a lot. I mean, yeah, they're all like 50,000 each.
첫 게임에서
Jeez.
탈락한 참가자의 숫자 255명, 참가자 한 명당 걸려있는 상금 액수 1억. 따라서 255억의 상금이 돼지점통에
Fucking hell! What?
빈손으로
Oh,
돌아가시게 됩니다.
what? That's mad.
상금은 456억입니다.
Right. I think that opens up the possibility for more people to be alive at the end as well. But
게임의 속행을 원하시면 초록색 동그라미 버튼을, 중계를 원하시면 빨간색 X 버튼을 눌러주시면 됩니다.
totally do. Oh, he has to though. He has to go through with this. He has to. Right? Well, I want it. Yep. It's going to go through anyway. There's no way there's going to be a more amount of people who... It's like who puts money on a pedestal, you know? The hell, it's quite close. It's closer than I thought it would be. Come on, Sang-woo. Oh, he changed it! He changed it! Whoa! We still don't know his reasoning yet, right, for being here. So they could, I mean... Interesting. So the gang leader guy pressed X, but the girl didn't.
이제 마지막 투표자입니다.
Oh, who was it? It's the old man, isn't it? It's the old man. I got it. It's the old man. Oh god, he's got to go for the money because he doesn't care. God, Jesus. Of course he's God.
의사가 그러는데 내 머릿속에 혹이 생겼대.
게임의 진행을 원하시면 동그라미, 중단을 원하시면 X 버튼을 눌러주시면 됩니다.
I guess they would have to go again if it was even, right? Fucking hell! I was not expecting that! So what happens now then?
과반수가 게임 중단에 동의하였으므로 하지만 저희는 여러분을 위한 기회의 문을 완전히 닫지 않겠습니다. 여러분의 다수가 게임의 재개를 원하시면 언제든 게임을 다시 시작하겠습니다.
I didn't think they were going to let people leave, but...
아 내가 너 풀어줬으니까.
당신 풀어주면 돈 내놓으라고 나한테 뭐라고 할 거잖아.
아 그거고.
알았어.
He admitted it.
소리 안 할 테니까 이거나 좀 빨리 풀어줘.
사장님, 전화 있어요? 전화 한 번만 하고 싶어요.
Oh, battery. Bloody hell.
감사합니다. 사장님, 감사합니다.
차비는 있어요?
네?
집이 안산이라면서요.
걸어가요.
여기서 안산까지 걸어서? 기다렸다가 버스 타고 가요.
지금 사태의 심각성을 아직 잘 이해 못.
They're gonna think he's mental. He's not gonna be able to prove it. The whole thing happened on an island. They didn't even know it was on an island.
200명이 넘게 그냥 막 쏴 죽였다니까요.
His expressions don't help, do they? Like, he looks like a mental case.
그렇다니까요.
누가 갑자기 게임을 하면 수백억을 준다고 해서 따라갔더니 무궁화꽃이 피었습니다를 시키고 그래서 걸리면 막 쏴 죽이더라. 그런데 선생님은 나오고 싶다고 해서 나오게 됐고 성함이
저 여기 쌍문동 사는 성기훈인데. 이게 그놈들이 준 명함이니까 여기로 전화해 보면 될 거 아니야.
예, 아침부터 실례합니다. 혹시 게임 같은 거 할 수 있습니까?
게임을 하고 싶으면 혼자 PC방에
God. Watch it be the same woman. What? It doesn't exist.
들어갑니다. 수고하십시오.
엄마. 나왔어요.
전원이 꺼져 있어 음성 사성으로 연결.
상우야. 여기서 뭐하냐? 서울대 경영학과 수석 입학 조상우가 뭐가 걱정이야? 다시 벌면 되지.
다시 벌어. 60억을?
아니 너 증권회사 다닌다더니 주식을 한 거야?
주식은 그렇게 크지 않고 선물을 했어.
선물로 그돈 있어? 여자 생겼냐?
그런 선물이 아니고 그런 게 있어.
He's just trying to talk to an idiot.
내 거 말고 어머니 거까지 다 들어갔어. 집이랑
Shit.
엄마 가게까지 다.
Fuck. Oh dear. Well, that's not good, is it?
예?
Ugh, his mother.
당뇨입니다.
Oh shit.
치료만 하면 되는 거죠?
Fucking hell.
최악의 경우엔 수술로 발을 절단해야 될 수도 있습니다. 일단 입원부터 하시고 치료하면서 경과를 좀 지켜보시죠.
He's been doing so much for it, you know, and he hasn't realised. He never realised.
하게 하나.
뭐가 괜찮아? 걸어도 제대로 못 걸으면서.
그럼 내가 그냥 이래 누워 있으면 월세는 누가 낼 기가?
It's gonna be another reason why he has to get back in the game
너
again.
하루 병원 입원한 값하고
보험 있잖아 보험.
뭐라고? 보험? 네 기억 안 나나? 그거 벌써 해제해가 다 써버렸잖아. 기훈아. 아이 엄마 피곤하다.
Poor old woman, man. He's gonna have to. He's.
내 돈 가져올게. 내 돈 가져오면 될 거 아니야?
형이 안 들어온 지 정확히 얼마나 됐죠?
그게 내가 매일 체크하는 게 아니라 고시원비 내는 날짜가 일주일 전이었거든요. 그때부터
I mean, he's a police officer, so
들어오지도 않고
he might be one guy who
전화도 안
actually
받고.
believes Gi-hun, right?
취객이에요?
Different number.
미친놈이야.
Bet he's a different number on the back.
죽여서 아주.
Relative.
얼굴은 왜 그래요? 친구들이랑 싸웠니?
여기 있기 싫다. 엄마 금방 데리고 온다며. 나같이 살 거라며.
그게
애들이 다 거짓말이래. 나 여기서 못 간대. 누나가 나 여기다 버린 거래.
누나가 꼭 그렇게 만들 거야.
그 무궁화꽃이 피었습니다. 근데 황 형사가 그 미친놈 이름은 왜?
제가 어제 얼핏 봤는데 그 사람 주소 좀 따주실 수 있어요?
We've got one detective on the case.
아니, 오라바이
Ali.
사장님, 밀린 월급 주세요.
말하냐. 지금 돈이 없어. 너도 알다시피 회사 사정.
저 손가락 치료 잘 못 받았어요. 병원비 제대로 못 받았어요.
다음 얘기하자. 내가 좀 바쁘다.
Bastard.
사장님 제발 돈 주세요. 일만 개 개새끼야 확. 나한테 욕하지 마. 이거 씨발 새끼가. 내돈 좀.
Oh! Oh, Jesus! Take and run, take and run, take and run! Yes, go Ali! Oh, God!
맘 먹고 튄 브로코드를 찾을 방법이 없디. 당한 사람이 너뿐이 아니야. 근데 그겐 니도 알겠지만 또 새로 다시 시작해야 되니까니.
This guy.
그래서 얼만데?
4천 이상은 있어야.
All these swindlers, man.
중국으로 가는 비용만 그렇고 거기서 다시 남조선으로
Fuck!
구해온다. 한 번 더 나 속이면 다음엔 무조건 네 목부터 딸 거야.
Dude, his face would be scalding hot. Like, that's like 3rd degree burn shit. She did the same thing to him. She did the keyhole.
혹시 조상우 씨 어머니 되십니까?
예, 조상우 우리 아들 맞는데요.
조상우 씨께서 횡령과 사문서
Oh,
부정
man.
경제범죄 가중처벌법 위반 혐의로 체포영장이 발부됐습니다.
Bless these mothers. Jesus.
누구시죠?
So they must keep an eye on him then.
अब मेरी बात गौर से सुनो. ये पैसे लो और जितना जल्दी हो सके फ्लाइट टिकट बुक करके बच्चे को लेकर घर वापस जाओ.
और आप?
तुम दोनों को पहले वापस जाना होगा. मैं तुमसे बहुत प्यार करता हूँ.
That's the old dude.
영감님 맞지? 그제 아는 사람이 있어. 이건 내가 당장 오갈 데가 없어서 우리가 인연이 있나 보네.
It's like instant ramen, like okay, yeah, just dry ramen.
나 다시 가기로 했어. 이렇게 죽을 날만 기다리다가 거기서 내가 1등을 그때 그 무궁화 꽃도 자네보다 내가 먼저 들어왔어.
Yeah.
근데 픽업은 한 놈이 나와.
So he wants to take the guy. Oh,
가면서 새끼를 잡아 조져가지고
find out what's going on.
있는 대로 쳐들어가는 거야. 이 새끼들 뒤통수만 제대로 치면 업소에서 꽐라된 년놈들 고장이나 받아주면서 먹고 사는 일 굿바이라.
That's never gonna work out well, is it?
덕수야.
덕수.
필리핀 전기빵 하는 애들이 네가 빌린 돈 대신에
넌 좆됐어 이 병신 새끼야.
Fuck. Wonder like he could have got back in the car and drove it off. Drove it away.
어디가 아프신데?
당뇨가 심해서 수술까지 해야 된다.
돈 없어. 우리 살기도 빠듯해.
God, everybody's broke. Everyone has nothing.
여보, 우리 왔어.
He is a stepdad.
일찍 왔네.
Oh shit! Asked them for it.
돈 필요하다면서요?
제가 꼭 갚겠습니다.
안 갚으셔도 됩니다. 대신 우리 가족 앞에 다시는 안 나타나 주셨으면 합니다. 또 이런 식으로 부스 나타나시.
God.
돌이면 다 들을 줄 알아.
도봉사 황준호입니다. 얼마 전에 신고하러 지구대 오셨죠?
아 그거 제가 그냥 지어낸 얘기입니다. 술 먹고 심심해서 그냥 지어낸 거예요.
성기훈 씨가 가지고 있던 명함 저희 형도 가지고 있었어요. 도와주십시오.
Man, you'd still be alive.
죄송한데요. 제가 지금 누굴 도울 수 있는 처지가 아닙니다.
Oh, he's hit rock bottom. Oh shit. Yeah, here we go. Another chance. Cool. I like that setup. That's awesome. That's really... kind of gives them an edge, I guess, knowing what is to come when other, like, you know... I mean, I assume that this is a new set, and there's going to be, you know, new people coming in. Is that a detective? Yeah. You would think the driver would be, like, looking for people following him, you know? Also, how the fuck can he see out that thing? Oh, shit. She was ready for that. They don't have anything put in place for that? I'm surprised they let them get away with that shit, you know? Okay, episode 2, Hell. Wow. Well, it did kind of answer my question from the last episode, which was, is it going to keep up with the tone that it had in episode 1? And seemingly not, because it did actually just turn to like melodrama. Like it was like, because every single person, like all the sort of like the main characters that we got, you know, introduced to in episode 1, who all came away from it, which is not what I was expecting at all, by the way. We all got sort of like acquainted with them and their reasons for, like, the, you know, the shit that they're in to begin with, and their reasons exactly for going back in, you know, and it basically was a case where they hit rock bottom for, you know, for some of them, and, you know, it's a cool way of doing it, because going into, like, I was expecting, like, all right, we're in, that's it, we're in. But coming back and away from it is an interesting way to do it, because, you know, you get into the, like, you know, the game itself. They have the first game and that's it, done. And then you get introduced to the characters and their reasons for being there, come back out, basically forced to by the third rule being implemented. And then you get their reasons exactly for going back in, which means, like, from the off, going back in again the second time, their motives have, like, sort of, like, not changed, but there's, like, a real motivation this time going in, where it's like, you know, like, you can see that, like, they're, like, because now they've actually chosen, they know what they've signed up for, that they're in for the long haul and they're going for it, you know. So that, yeah, that's an interesting way to do it, and I liked it. It is interesting how this, you know, this second round, like, sort of round, this other chance that they've got, I thought was really interesting, that, you know, they've kept eyes on those who left and have given them an opportunity for, like, to do it again. And I'm guessing this is a new set. Like, I'm assuming that the first set and the people who decided to stay and went on, like, they went through the games and that's done. I'll be honest, I didn't get a real sense of time passed. Like, the time passage was a bit confusing to me, because if that is the case, then I'd like, because if it is a new game, then you would have to assume that another 5 days has passed since, you know, since the last one, because they would have to have gone through, and then now, you know, they're coming back in again. So I didn't get a real sense of time passed, though it could have been a case of, like, there was one day that passed and therefore they can come back in and join in on the second day, right? But I didn't get a sense that that's the way that it was either, because then there would have been a day missed. So I feel like the first set had to have gone through and finished. And this is just another one. In which case, will they get their same numbers back? Not that it really matters that much, I suppose, in the long run, but I don't know. If it is, then there's going to be new people in there who are innocent and don't know the ins and outs of it. In which case, it's going to be interesting to see, like, you know, the likes of Gi-hun, who cared for people. I say cares. He's probably done caring that much, because he's hit rock bottom, and now it's like, this is it. Like, I'm going for it. It's like now or never kind of thing. He's kind of resigned himself to the fact of, you know, if his girl goes, like, that's it anyway. So either he dies trying to get the money, or he gets it and he's able to fight for his daughter. So, you know, with Gi Hun, it's very much like Gi Hun is gung ho, so to speak. So, you know, there's that way of looking at it, and I think that's the way inclined he is now. You know, when I was asking about the you know, will the tone continue, and obviously it dropped to, you know, I think hell is a pretty abject term for this episode. That he's done with it all, I think, and now he's ready to go. Sang-woo, similar thing, rock bottom. Like at the point he was at, where he was in the bath and everything, he was just getting ready to just end it all there. But now he's been given another opportunity to go at it again. The old man, he's basically like, listen, I mean, he pressed X first of all, which is I was surprised, but then again that was just because I was like, there's like, he's going to continue because, you know, he knows that he's on his way out anyway, and they, you know, like, I was expecting the game to continue, you know, like I thought that was it. Like once you were in, you were like, that was it. I wasn't expecting them to actually let them leave, and they did. It's quite insane, you know. I think it's perfect the way that it's set up as well, that even like the fact that they can let them go, like even if they were to go to the police, it's that insane of a thing that you wouldn't even, like, the police aren't even going to consider it an option. The only reason why it's going to differ this time round is because Detective Huang, his brother, is actually being, you know, captured. But that's the thing, is like, I think that, like, that was the one who he got out of like, his brother was the one that was in jail, right? When Gi Hun came, like, in to talk about, like, what had happened with the game and all of that, because Detective Huang was taking someone out, right? And it looked like, it felt like the way that he was like sort of talking to him and everything, that was his brother. So then obviously he went missing a few days ago. He mentioned. So yeah, I think time has passed for that first game to go off. So I think I'm right about that. But anyway, he's on the case now and he's following the car. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So back to, you know, the old man. Yeah, I thought he was going to continue on, but he didn't. He pressed X, he came away, and it's you know, nothing's really changed with him. He's still like just at that. You know, he's at that point where you know, he knows that, you know, like, he's gone anyway, and he's just wanting to sort of in that very much die kind of trying, as opposed to just like kind of fading away, you know. So he wants to go out like properly, and if not, well, he wins anyway, and it's something to do for him, you know. So I kind of like that innocent approach that he has to it, whereas the other ones have like real reason, like proper like cool hard reasoning to like fight for like either their family, or you know, or to, you know, to get back ingratiated in the gang, or you know, or whatnot. But he is, the old man himself is basically doing it because it's an option for him, as opposed to just, you know, going from place to place and he's got nowhere to go to, and you know, it gives like a sort of it gives him something to do, a reason for it, really. So yeah, he's going back in as well. We had Ali. So yeah, his was very interesting as well, because he's Indian, I believe, anyway. I apologise if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Indian. And his girlfriend, I assume, and child are here. Now he wanted money so that he could go back to India, or at least take them away. But it's interesting. So Ali wants to go back in to get more money. So what's the reasoning for the more money part? Is it just because he's seen the money and it's like, this is great for me, for my family? or is he still needing to pay off something? I guess, like, maybe so. But the good thing is he's managed to get his family out of there, which is great. So now it's just on him. Kang Se, who is the North Korean, so she is actually North Korean, and her family are. I thought that was just like a throwaway, kind of like almost like a way to insult, but you know, I apologize, I'm completely wrong on that. But no, it's just, so they are legitimately North Korean, and they've crossed the border, which obviously we know about North Korea, and it's, you know, we know about all of that stuff. So they managed to cross the border, and the parents were taken back in by, or they haven't been able to leave yet, but they were, I think, they'd managed to get to China, and then they were picked up by Chinese police or whatever, and then brought back to North Korea. I don't know, or they're stuck in China, and probably have to be bailed out, and that's what the money's for. So there's that. And then we've got Jok-soo. I'm sorry for all of these like pronunciation. Like, they're really, like, Korean names are really hard to pronounce. I've learned, because obviously I'm reading the subtitles, and anytime like it's brought up like one of the names or whatever, and you listen to them say it, it's not like, it's almost like not how it's spelt at some points, or it's like the pronunciation is so quick that you don't get very much like, there's not much emphasis, I guess, in the pronunciation of the names, so it's hard to really get a grasp on how to pronounce it properly. But Jok-soo, I'll just say that, Jok-soo. There was a whole thing of obviously him like ingratiated with, like, you know, there's like the big boss, and I guess he was like sort of like below that or whatever, and you know, there was the whole shit going on with him, and you know, basically he went to a casino in the Philippines, I guess in a sort of similar situation of being in debt and just trying to get money by gambling and everything like that. But that finally caught up with him, with the one guy that he was in the car with. He ended up just killing that guy off. Almost trying to act like that was Jok-soo, right? But obviously that didn't work. He jumped off into the water off the bridge. He goes back in. It's interesting, like, with him, because obviously the idea behind what he was trying to do was go back to the meeting place, take care of the driver, and then get back to wherever the hell the shit was going down, so they can just take the money by force. I mean, even if that was actually to happen, I feel like you wouldn't get far. You know, I really don't. The amount of guys that were there with guns and everything, like, I imagine they have a massive security system on board that, you know, you can't just take that by force. So, you know, there's that. And yeah, I mean, back to Kang Se, actually, she has purposefully, like, obviously to stop herself from, you know, from getting put to sleep, she's covered her mouth and nose to stay awake. Now, I said it, like, as a sort of like an off comment there at the end, that, like, they're not very, like, the people in the, you know, in the van that are driving it, they're not very aware of what's going on around them. I mean, I'm not surprised. How the fuck do you see through that mask? But you would think that for something that is so, like, elaborate as the game, like the Squid Game, whatever the hell you want to call it, like that whole thing, and because it's obviously, like, not you know, like, it's not exactly law abiding, you would think that they would have, like, certain things in place, security measures, that, like, shit like this can't just get done again. I mean, they've knowingly given the, like, previous participants another chance, even though they know exactly what's going on. So they obviously know the ins and outs of what the hell's going to happen, to the degree of, like, knowing that they're going to be put to sleep in the van. So why would you, like, you know, like, I just feel like the security measures just aren't, like, they're not, there's not much in place. I feel it's interesting, like, I don't know, like, maybe they're so sure of the idea that these people who are coming in are needing money, so they're not going to do anything that would go against that, you know, I guess. I don't know. It's fucking it's fucking interesting though. It's just it's such a weird thing, you know. Like the guy's not even aware of Detective Yang driving behind him, you know. I mean, Detective Yang's going to get to a point where he's going to end up getting to an airport, or he's going to end up getting to some kind of docks, and he's not going to be able to follow them after that, I imagine. But from then on, he's going to be able to, you know, get some kind of information. If it's an airplane taking off, then I don't know, a private plane maybe. He's going to have to determine somehow, like, where you know, I don't know how he's going to get aboard. I don't know, maybe he's going to sneak himself aboard. Who knows? He may end up finding himself in the game, you know, as well. The thing is that because this has happened, like, oh god, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going back now with Detective Yang and his brother now, and me thinking that was the guy who was taken out of jail, or taken out like of the police station, right? Was that his brother? Because then when he said, like, oh, my brother went missing a few days ago, does that mean that the brother is actually going to be a part? I imagine so, because then, like, obviously that furthers that sort of, you know, sub-story. Because, you know, he's going to be a part of the game, which will introduce another sort of, like, main character and everything, and it's going to be, you know, shit, don't let him die kind of thing, because, you know. But I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Yeah, everyone in this show is broke. Everyone just doesn't have money. Everyone's fucked. God. I guess it's the, you know, it's the core sort of thing of the show though, isn't it? I mean, that's the point. The only one who does actually have money is the stepdad, and we don't like him. You know. I said it as like an off comment and didn't finish my point because obviously I was watching the show and I didn't want to miss anything. But I did say like I said the stepdad had me fooled. So like what I mean by that is he had this when he first walked through the door. He seemed like very gentlemanly. You know what I mean? Like he almost felt like he was a nice and, you know, understanding guy. But then it's like, you know. Gi-hun leaves and then he says, you know what I mean, like, what was he doing here this time kind of thing, and stop, like, you know, I told you to stop letting him in the house. And then he comes out and he, you know, he offers the money, which is like then nice again, and that's a nice thing. But then you find out he's doing it for an ulterior motive of basically it's like money to keep him away as opposed to actually for the, you know, for his mother. And I like the fact that Gi-hun was like, do you think money can just like buy, like, you know, my daughter off like this? That was cool. That was nice, you know. I like that he did that. Unfortunately, you know, the daughter saw it, and that's when he hit rock bottom anyway. So, yeah, I mean, this is the thing is, I'm more inclined to believe after this episode because of what happened early in the episode that there can be multiple people survive at the end. In the first episode, I wasn't so sure. I was more inclined to believe after episode 1 that only one's got, like, being able to survive the end. But in this episode, I'm more inclined to believe that like more people can survive the end. But it's a wonder. Like I don't know. I'm wondering exactly how it gets to that point, because I don't know if this whole thing of like, you know, if you get to the final day and you know the final game, it just depends on whether or not the game is designed for, you know, like a sort of like a king of the hill kind of thing, or like, you know, one person left standing. And it sucks because I do recall, like, I remember something being said at the beginning of the episode that made me realize, like, more inclined to believe that more people could win the game at the end, so more people could survive. But I didn't write it down. I can't remember what the fuck it was. Shit. I think it was just because of the way that they were saying stuff. Because obviously the money was coming in, right? The money was rolling in, and it's basically based upon how many people are there. So it's basically like, there was 456 people, so there's basically all of the winnings as total is 45.6 billion, and I think the way they were saying is just like there was something that was said, like the way that it was said, it felt like the way that they were describing it is that it's not just a case of one person gets all of the winnings. It just means that, one person is worth this much, and because there's this many people in the game, that's how much it is. And I found it interesting that they actually give the fact of like, yes, you can leave and you can give it up and terminate the game, and in that regard, the money that has been put in there already is dished out to the family members who. I mean, that's crazy when you think about it, and it also like, God, like it's crazy like that when you think about that. The motive, I really want the motive behind the guy behind all this, because like, obviously on one hand this whole thing that he's doing is totally absurd, but then he puts it up with this like sort of like money game thing where it's still, you know what I mean, like that it's still like a nice gesture, but then you've been a part of killing that person, but you've given them money for it. I suppose in a way it's very much similar to how they actually got involved in the game to begin with the see, here's another word with Korean that, I mean, the subtitle put it as DDAKI, Dadaki, but I don't know how you pronounce it. I can't remember what it said in episode 1. But that game basically where you've got these two like sort of things that have like been folded up like pieces of paper or whatever so many times or whatever, and you're supposed to hit it to flip it, obviously. And obviously there were the likes of Gi-hun and a lot of other people were like getting slapped to take off the money again. And I remember seeing a comment in like that episode about how, it would make sense as like, are they willing to take punishment for like monetary gain or whatever? And that's just like a way of, like a way of showing ahead of time, like, money before like death, really. And I guess that's I guess that works the same way with how this guy is set up the whole thing, which is like, like the slap is supposed to sort of indicate like the death or whatever, either like the death of a family member or anything like that, and then but you're getting money for it at the end, as long as you just keep in the game, kind of thing. If you're able to keep getting slapped, I don't know, it's just weird. I need to know the motive behind whoever. I mean, I'm sure he's probably another eccentric like guy, like the very exaggerative personality. This was one of the questions I had actually back in episode 1 as well, which was like, I don't know if I said something along the lines of like, I don't know if these are just Korean actors that like they're like, that's the way that they sort of act. They portray characters as very much like animated like that. And I mean, I'm not obviously putting it like to all of the like Korean actors that obviously they do that, but there's a lot of characters in this show that are very much like over exaggerate everything, like you've got so with Kang Se, you've got the guy who like, she threw the hot coffee or tea or whatever in his face, right? That guy was very overly exaggerating in everything that he was doing. You've got the police guy like behind the desk, right? He's very like overly exaggerative. I mean, but then obviously, of course, it's not everyone, because you've got the likes of like Detective Huang, who's very like subdued. You've got Sang-woo, who's obviously very cool and calm and everything. But I just thought it was like interesting. Like you've got these like there are specific like some of them that are very much like over the top, and they're like in the way that they act and whatever. It's just it's very interesting. So yeah, I mean. Gi-hun, his mother's got diabetes, which that sucks. And immediately it was just another reason for him to get back in the game again, But it's interesting that that wasn't, because I thought like, oh well, that's an obvious like on the nose thing. Right now he's like that's just another reason for him to get back into the game. But it wasn't that actually got him to go back in, or whatever. But it was after the whole thing with the scepter and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was the whole thing of the card actually presenting itself anyway. Because of course, like Gi-hun never asked the old man, like, what do you mean you're getting back into it? Like, how would you get back into it? It's not like you search them out; they search you out. So it's not like he can just like ask thin air. I want to be back in. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that does work, but it doesn't matter anyway because everyone that left that was a previous participant got the card back anyway. Like, it is another chance. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think yeah, at the beginning, fucking they incinerate the bodies. One was still alive in there. That's again, like I said, whoever's behind this whole thing has got like such a mad, like a psychopathic way of looking at this whole thing. Where like, obviously, money's not an issue. There's not much time that has been since the first game in this one, and that's why I was asking like back in episode 1 about, is this the first one or has there been many? I feel like there's been many. But then with the amount of people that go missing because of this, like there has to be some prior, like this can't be just, I don't know. Maybe it hasn't been going on for that long. Let's put it that way. Maybe this is the first of like many going forward, but like the amount of shit that goes into this, like, you know what I mean? You've got the right, so you've got to obviously, you've got to look out and approach and find out who these people are, right? So everyone that has to, you know what I mean, is dealing with debt and everything and down on life, and they need a reason to fight for the money and everything like that. And then you've got to get all of these sort of like phone numbers and everything like that obviously connect that person to the other, like, so they can get an idea of where the van's going to pick them up from and everything. And then after that, like, one call, they disconnect the number from it and everything like that. So now they've got to go and get new ones and everything. Like, it just seems like the hell of a faff on for like something that I don't know what the point is. I can't just assume that whoever's behind this whole thing is doing this solely for like personal pleasure. Watching people die because they fail children's games, like, And then it gets me on other stuff. Like, I wonder, like, I put a throwaway comment as well in the episode 1 about the Truman Show, because the sort of like the way that it was set out, like it was like a open world, even though it was set within the confines of like essentially like a big box, but made it look like it was like obviously in a real setting that went on forever with the actual sky above, reminded me of the Truman Show. Now, if you haven't watched the Truman Show, like it's a Jim Carrey movie where he's since he was a child, he was actually put inside this massive dome, which is a fake world. But because Jim Carrey's character doesn't realize it, because he's been born in the whole thing, he thinks it's just the real world, but it's not. It's just a fake thing that's being broadcast to the world as almost like a TV show. And it makes me wonder if this is bigger than what we're looking at here. Like, is this being like broadcast to people or not? Because the way that I'm looking at it, it looks like whoever is in charge of this whole thing isn't getting anything out of it, like at least monetary. He's just giving away money at that point, right? So like so it makes me wonder if there's like an elite sort of like a, I don't know, like a like an Illuminati type style thing going on, right? Where there's like, this is for the elite's pleasure, but because obviously they're like, big and wealthy and everything like that they can get, that all of this is just like that kind of shit. I'm trying to liken it to something like because there's stuff like where I've seen that kind of thing before, like The Promised Neverland. I mean, I haven't even seen that since like episode 7 or whatever, but like there's this whole thing of like, the kids and everything, and then there's like these like alien things that seem like they're like higher ups, and it's like they're doing that for like their gain, You know, like using these people as almost like pawns, like they're not even real, like they're just like cattle that you know, their lives don't matter. Because otherwise I don't understand what the point of it would be. Like, what is the dude getting out of it? I know that we saw that one, the front man is what he referred to as just like sitting back and, you know, enjoying it. But this can't be for purely personal pleasure, because it's too elaborate. It's too elaborate for that shit. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I think I've gone through everything that I wanted to talk about, but yeah, it's going to get interesting from now on, because I like this is it. I think this is it. Once you're in, we're not going to have another thing where they vote and they're back out again and they need another reason to go back in for the third time. I doubt that that's going to be the case. So I think this is it. We're in. They've all hit rock bottom, so now it's just basically either die trying, like, you know, get that money, like win it, or die trying. That feels like where we're at right now. And yeah, it's going to get mad because now we know all their backstories. Like, we don't want any of them to die, really. I mean, you know, Jok-Soo, I don't really care about that guy unless, you know, something happens where, like, he redeems himself. I don't really care about that guy. Everyone else, though, like, you know, I care about. I mean, in the list of, like, the main characters who are back in there that, like, you know, I least care about, Jok-Soo's obviously the bottom. I you know, he's you know, I don't really care. And then you've got, I would probably say, like, I don't know, it's hard. I guess, like, you know, the old man, because at least I know that he, like, he would be happy to die like that. I mean, he's already said that he would, like, rather go out like that. So if he dies, it's like it's gonna be, you know, sad, but, you know, at least he got to go out on his terms, kind of thing. After that, Kang Se, I guess, but like from like anything from the old man up, like all of the other character. The only one I really don't care if he dies or not is Jok-Soo, unless he proves me otherwise. But, like, you know, all of them people now, like, I'm attached to because of their circumstances that we've seen in this episode. So this episode was definitely needed, put it that way. If the show had done something different where they kept in the game, which is what I thought they was going to do, and they're just talking about, like, their circumstances, I don't think it would hit as hard. The fact that we got to come out and, you know, Kang Se is like talking with a little brother and that, and has that heart to heart. The younger brother is feeling sort of like, you know, like left out because they know that he's like North Korean, and the children keep calling him like basically like an idiot because they're still waiting for their parents and they're not coming, you know, and whatnot. We've seen with Sang-woo, like, God, Sang-woo. I hope he's alive by the end of this. I do. Like, I just feel so bad for him, you know. Like, forgery and embezzlement, that's what went on with his, and the fact that he put his mother's fucking house and shop on the line as well. You know what I mean? And the fucking the mother's so proud of that fact, you know. They talked about, and I only realized it in this episode. I didn't realize it in the last episode. That like, whatever the place name is, it's almost like a rundown part of the city that seemingly everyone that's in there doesn't really get out. You know what I mean? And that's why with Sang-woo, it was like, it's like a big deal. Like, someone actually got out and made something of themselves, and that's what makes it worse. Is like, you know, the mother's so proud of it. You know what I mean? She has the, you know, the picture like up there, like showing everyone like what her son's done, and it's heartbreaking. You know, it sucks. It really sucks. And this episode, like, putting into perspective for Gi-hun, like, you know, about his mother and everything, like, you got to treat her better, mate. You know, and I think that's everything that's been piled on Gi-hun's, like, he's going forward as well. Like I said, I hope this isn't. This is gonna suck if it is gonna come down to, like, the only way to win is to basically be the last man standing. I hope it isn't gonna be that. I hope there's a way for people to be alive at the end of it, because, you know. But then I can't be I can't be naive and think that like none of these people are going to die. Like, you know, Ali, I want him to fucking survive. You know what I mean? Because out of them all, he seems like the most innocent. You know. The fact that you God, that one dude who deserved it so much, by the way, that boss dude, he crushed his fingers in there. Ah, damn, dude, that's nuts. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what goes on from there. But again, like I am really intrigued by the show and I am really enjoying it. So yeah, we'll pick up episode 3 next time. Actually, if you do want to watch episode 3 right now, you can do by going over to my Patreon and becoming an early access tier patron. So yeah, like obviously once episode 2 is out for the public and you can watch it, like you're watching it right now, episode 3 will be available over for early access on my Patreon. Okay, so yeah, link to the Patreon's in the description below. But yeah, anyway, that's all I got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I think certain things. One of them is the Discord and Patreon, like I just previously said. There's the early access tier, $5 a month, gives you access to shows a week early. There's the full-length tier, which gives you access to full-length reactions to all the shows that I do. And there is the exclusive tier, which gives you access to the full-length movie reactions that I do as well. So if you're into movies and all sorts, and that's the one for you. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.